Okay, today we're here in San Francisco with Des from DesFit.
Thanks for having me on, Shane.
How you doing, Des?
I'm doing great after a couple days of riding.
We have done 2 days of riding here in San Francisco on these hire bikes. So I've done hire bike video reviews in the past. I thought we'd have a talk about these bikes just before we return them in about, I think they're due back in half an hour, so we have to be quick.
And by the way, hire bikes, for those of us in the States, rentals.
Oh, it's a different terminology.
Absolutely, yeah. So, just a
Okay.
little
I didn't even know that. How about that? We learn something new every day.
rentals.
So, what we wanted to do for the 2 days we had here, we have 3, but technically tomorrow we're driving down to Monterey for Sea Otter, but we wanted to ride some of the hills just north of the bridge. I've seen so many Strava rides that look just mint. They look so nice.
Yeah, and they delivered.
They did,
Yeah.
indeed. We'll put some photos, we'll link below. We'll also link below to our Strava rides. And I'll put some shots up here, 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 and we've got lots of photos to put up, so check those out. But we'll talk about the bikes, why we chose to go with these ones, how they went, the pros and cons, and maybe an option to choose if you're in town. So first of all, winding back, when we got into town, we were still Googling where to hire bikes from. Good road bikes that we wanted, good reliable bikes. We found a few places that were over $100 a day. We still weren't quite sure. Now I'm a big fan of Sports Basement, just around the corner here. Cheap hokers, clothes, they've just got quite a lot of stuff on sale. They also happen to do road bikes. So we thought I would go check out what they had. I was surprised.
They had a lot of stuff. So they had tandem bikes, cruiser bikes.
The first one we spotted was the tandem.
Yeah,
I'm like,
of
Des,
course.
did we go on the tandem for a couple? No.
No.
No tandem.
Who would go in the back, basically, is going to be the question.
So we didn't get the tandems, but their range.
Yeah, quite a huge range, basically. They had gravel bikes, road bikes, like tandems, like I said, cruiser bikes, whole bunch of stuff.
On the road bike side of things, they had the lower end to higher end and the mid end. Mid isn't an end, but you know what I'm talking about. So the lower end was the alloy bikes.
Yes.
And we were like, nah, they were $40 a day. We thought, what's a little bit more than that?
Yeah.
Mid-range with 105. We'll go through the specs in a moment. Or they had the high range. If you were into setting some comms around here, there was some Di2 disc brake bikes and all that. We chose the mid-range, which was good value. $60 a day, $1,000 down on deposit, and $30 a day after.
Yeah, so that was pretty enticing to have those second, possibly third days in there. But
Oh, and they also said, give us a call if you want them for the next few days. So the stock they had was quite extensive.
I was very impressed, actually. Yeah.
And they had our size. And what I mean our size, this is going to be weird. We are different heights. We still ride the same size bike. 54?
54.
54. For me, I like a smaller framed bike, longer stem, push the saddle back. It just feels a bit more nippy than driving a big boaty type thing. Des, you're from the mountain bike side of things, so
I'm pretty standard on my sizing for the road bike, though. Yeah, but you will see that his saddle is definitely a little bit higher than mine, but he likes that drop.
when I rode it out of the store, my knees were up around my chin, so we did get the key out and fix that up. So specs of this bike, it is a Cannondale carbon frame, 105 mechanical group set with caliper brakes, not disc brakes, Mavic
Axioms.
I can never Axiom.
Axiom.
Mavic Axiom wheels, 25mm tyres. They'll supply whatever pedal suits your shoe. So they asked us if we needed flat pedals. No. Cleats. Des, you're on?
I'm on mountain SPDs.
Yep, I'm on SPDSLs. That's what I had, just the standard Shimano's. I'm kicking myself for not bringing the Asioma Power Meter pedals.
Ditto.
So we didn't have any power data, but we also did bring our own head units and head unit mounts. They don't come with any head unit mounts. There's no real standard for that other than Garmin, but I was using an Element anyway, which is going to be a different standard. So hot tip, bring your own GPS unit and mounts.
Absolutely. Yep.
Other tips on this bike, or other setups on this bike, comes with a Cannondale SI crankset with FSA rings. They were a 5236. On the back, I think we had 28s on the back, 2812s or 2811s. So climbing wise, you found those gearing all right?
I found it to be surprisingly good, actually. Yeah. I mean, the compact in front definitely helped quite a bit.
Yeah, there were some steep hills around there. Brakes.
Brakes were barely sufficient is what I would probably call them. For the hills around here, I think probably if you're just going to be going on flats, they're going to be perfectly fine.
Around town, you're going to be pulling up at a set of stoplights or giving way to car. You can just, no worries at all. But there was a section of road today that I came past there and I'm like, I'm on threshold braking! And I was about a metre off hitting traffic. Given that though, it was negative 15%.
It was steep.
It was pretty steep. So probably just watch that. If you're going to hire a bike, just know the brakes.
Yeah.
Maybe just twist that little thing there and make sure you can get a lot of brake onto them. Being from Australia, our brakes are also switched as well. So my descending was not sketchy, wasn't as quick as what I'd like it to be because our brakes are on the other side back home. You have no problems with that?
No, I was fine to go. Yeah, I was good to go for those.
So do be aware, if you're coming from Australia or the UK and other bikes, they do switch those over. But all that, other than that, all pretty good. What else comes with the bike is the saddlebag. Pretty handy little setup. Spare tube, tyre levers, tyre patches, and a CO2 kit.
Yep.
Do you trust CO2?
No, I've done a little bit of walking before, so.
My CO2 story and why I always travel and carry a hand pump. I was putting a CO2 in one day, side of the road, and the little seal popped out, flew over that massive fence. I couldn't get. It was call Von and get home and.
I've made the call before.
Yeah, so it was the call of shame because my CO2 failed. Ever since then, I've always had a frame pump on or a mini pump in the back pocket. So I had one of those with me this week. No multi-tool supplied. There's a reason.
Yeah, I think it really has to do with the torque settings, basically, on the bike. So basically, so if somebody, this is a carbon frame right here, so somebody will inevitably probably over torque it.
Yeah, and well, we know it's how tight is a bolt. Well, it should be as tight until it strips and then back it off a little bit. With carbon, it's until it breaks and back it off a little bit. But once it's so that's why they don't supply multi-tools with these bikes. But if you're okay with tools and you've got a good handle on things, so to speak, bring a multi-tool along. Don't pack it in your hand luggage. Pack it in your check-in luggage in case it has some kind of knife in it that they pick up and throw out because multi-tools can be expensive. Bike also comes with water bottle cages, but
no water bottles. And I think that if you're spending $60 a day on it, well, at least $60 for the first day for the bike, they could very well throw in a water bottle. It doesn't really cost them much, but it's also it's also a little bit of additional marketing for them because you get to take that home and advertise for whoever you
has
rented
the company's
the bike
name
from.
on it. Yeah, for sure. So we did end up buying some sports basement bottles to ride around with anyway.
Totally fine.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Okay, my pros and cons list. Pros: bike rode well, no creaks, especially with the hills. If you've ever gone up a hill at 3, 4, 5 kilometers an hour, which were some of the hills were, you don't want to creak. You don't want the bottom bracket creaking. That was all good. So that was thumbs up from me there. I never threw a chain. Excellent. You don't want to throw chains off the bike by switching rings here and there. So that was all good. Mechanically, it was great. And throughout the whole 2 days, no problems at all. So quite happy with that, given the level of the bike and how it performed. Des, your pros?
My pros, this is actually very similar to something I would ride at home myself because I'm more of a mountain biker, so I spend a little bit more money on my mountain bikes than my road bike. But yeah, the 105 worked pretty darn well. Like I said, the brakes were not as good as I would like them, but like I said, this is something very similar to what I ride at home. So I really enjoyed the carbon frame on the very few occasions where we had a little bit rougher terrain. But,
there were a few bumps.
But no, I think overall this bike performed really well. Cons.
My cons list. Well, I'm a bit spoiled because I'm a big fan of Di2 now. Like crisp changes in Di2. So 105 was a few steps back. I said to Des, I'm getting a hand cramp. Changing was a bit precious. But
and I asked if he needed a cookie.
I need a manicure. But it was different going back. I'm so used to, for the last 3 or 4 months, going click, snip, snap, 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 snap. My climbing shifter, just having everything set up at home. So 105, it was a small step back, but it still worked mechanically okay. Also, like all hire bikes, they're set up to accommodate everyone, a wide range of people.
Sure.
And the widest thing is the handlebars. I thought they were 44s. I'm like, Des, I'm on 44s. Even Aiden, who was riding with us today, is like, Shane, you were a big draft. This is great. I'm like, yeah, because my arms are out so far. I can't get aero on this thing. Again, it's a bit of a personal thing. I run 36s, like really, really narrow bars. These are 44?
I think those are 42s actually.
42s, okay. So the bars, and you'll see here a stack of spaces put under there, but that's to accommodate everyone because not everyone's going to run a slam stem. But again, that's about it for that. Fit is never going to be perfect on a hire bike.
No.
But the brakes, especially for that section today where I almost ended up in the middle of traffic. It's also a handling thing and me being accustomed to the bike, but that's about it. But your cons?
There was one more thing that I heard from your bike, and on the second day.
Can you hear the chirping in the background? That's not birds.
No.
That's the chain on this bike.
It was a little bit squeaky.
We'd done in just over 100 kilometers and it became a little squeaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chain was a little dry on the bike.
Conversely, mine was perfectly fine. So yeah, I mean, again, just things to check over when you're hiring a bike.
Maybe a bit of a squirt oil. I have done a little tip on carrying a little bit of oil in one of those soy sauce fish bottle things.
Oh,
I reckon
that's
traveling
right.
with one of those.
That's a great idea.
You could just put it on the chain. That would have stopped all the squeaks. But yeah, like the birds chirping, my chain was chirping just a little bit at the end of the ride. Aside from all of that, I think I'd give this a 9 out of 10 for a hire. And my conclusion, it ticked all the boxes. And would I hire from here again?
Oh,
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Hands down, no problems at all. I can get myself some cheap shoes while I'm there. That's why I go back to Sports Basin most of the time, and they have a good range of Cliff Bars. 2 things I would change though, I'd bring my own saddle. This saddle is more of a traditional saddle where your sit bones aren't. I use a Pro Stealth, which is quite a flat saddle, and also the Power Saddle, a Specialized Power Saddle. Very similar to my time trial bike saddles where they're very stiff and this one's very soft in the center, very traditionally. So that probably wasn't good. I probably could have just thrown that in the bag, brought that over, and the pedals. Other than that, 2 thumbs up while my phone doesn't fall off the bike. Des, your overall rating before we take these back in 5 minutes?
I would definitely have to give these a 9 out of 10 as well. The bars, funny enough for me, were a little bit narrow at 42s. I run larger bars. I like 44s,
You're a mountain
46s.
biker.
Yeah, I run 800 millimeter mountain bike bars, so I like them definitely wide. Saddle, I'll definitely have to agree with Shane here, where I generally run a WTV Volt. Again, you know, saddles are so personalized that it's just a good idea to kind of bring your own, especially if you're going to be logging in quite a few miles. And then again with pedals, yeah, I kind of regret not bringing some power meter pedals as well, especially for the amount of climbing that we did.
The TSS we would have racked up. We're not quite sure. We can estimate it, but it'd be nice to go grab
My legs are kind of tired.
Yeah, that's all good. Speaking of the TSS and what we racked up, we will link below to our Strava ride so you can check them out. If you're in town, we'll also link below to Sports Basement. So that's all good.
Yeah, thumbs up from me.
We'll be back for more. Check out more content coming soon from Sea Otter.
Yes, absolutely.
Looking forward to it. All right, thanks for watching this one. Remember, hit up Des on Des's channel, Des Fit. I will link below to that.
Thanks,
And
Shane.
always, hit like, hit subscribe, and away you go. Thanks for watching.
See you later.